Ever feel like the ground is shifting under your feet? Like, one minute you're learning the hottest new coding language, and the next, there's AI generating websites with a few lines of text. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
It's a brave new world out there.
You, our astute listener, sent in this request, wondering if diving into software engineering is even worth it anymore with AI looming on the horizon.
It's a question a lot of people are asking, to be sure.
So we're taking a deep dive into how AI is changing the game in software development. And to help us navigate this new terrain, we're turning to a recent article from Kickstart Your Programming Career. Let's face it, some of the things AI coding tools can do already seem straight out of science fiction. Remember that scene in Star Trek where they just tell the computer what they wanted and boom, it appeared?
Yeah, I always loved that bit.
We're getting there. Take GitHub Copilot, for example. It's like having an AI pair programmer suggesting code right in your editor. Or OpenAI Codex, which can actually generate code from plain English instructions.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you actually see these tools in action. What we're seeing with these tools is their incredible ability to handle those repetitive, time-consuming tasks that often bog down developers. Imagine being able to generate that boilerplate code, the foundation of any project, in a fraction of the time.
Hold on. For those of us who haven't spent the last decade neck-deep in code, what exactly is boilerplate code?
Good point. Boilerplate code refers to those standardized blocks of code that you often have to write over and over again at the beginning of a project, almost like laying the groundwork.
Okay. So it's like the scaffolding before you build the actual structure.
Exactly. And AI can handle those repetitive tasks with incredible speed and accuracy.
So instead of spending hours laying each brick, we've got AI laying the foundation for us.
Yeah.
That does free us up for the more interesting stuff, right? But is it really as simple as AI becoming our coding assistant? Where do the limitations come in?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While AI excels at pattern recognition, it stumbles when it comes to true understanding. The article uses a great analogy. Imagine trying to teach AI to write a novel. It might be able to mimic the style of famous authors by analyzing thousands of books, but it would struggle to create a truly original story with compelling characters and a gripping plot.
So like AI could probably crank out a pretty convincing grocery list, but when it comes to crafting a sonnet, it's going to fall short.
Exactly. It's the difference between following instructions and truly comprehending the nuances of a task. The article highlighted a study where an AI coding tool was tasked with creating a game. While it could generate the basic game mechanics, it struggled with things like designing engaging levels, balancing difficulty, or creating a compelling narrative, those elements that require creativity and an understanding of human psychology.
So there's a certain je ne sais quoi that AI just hasn't quite grasped yet.
You got it.
Okay, so AI can't quite write the next bestseller yet. But when it comes to the type of code most of us encounter, does this lack of soul really matter?
That's an interesting question.
If it works, right?
Well, the article argues that just focusing on AI spitting out code, misses the bigger picture of what software engineering actually are.
Okay, so walk me through this bigger picture. What are we missing?
It's all about solving problems.
Okay.
And not just debug this line of code problems, right? Like, think about building an app that people actually enjoy using.
Right.
You need to wrap your head around how humans interact with technology, what makes them tick, what their pain points are. And then you can even start to think about designing a solution that actually, meets those needs.
So it's less about being a code monkey and more about being like a digital architect.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to get the why behind the how.
The article actually highlights how crucial that human element is, like especially when AI starts spitting out solutions that maybe technically work, but completely miss the mark when it comes to actually being usable or even ethical for that matter.
That's a good point, actually. Like my GPS might give me the fastest route, but only I, as a human, can decide if I'd rather take a nicer route, even if it takes a little longer.
Exactly. That's a great analogy. And it kind of gets to the heart of why adaptability is so crucial.
Okay.
This tech landscape, it's changing constantly. New languages are popping up every day. Frameworks are changing. What's considered best practice one day is outdated the next. And humans, we have this amazing capacity to learn and adapt.
Yeah.
And apply knowledge in new ways. That's something AI just hasn't quite wrapped its head around yet.
It's almost like you're not just building a career, you're building a mental toolkit, and you're constantly adding to it.
Exactly. In fact, the article actually says that this ability to adapt and learn new things, that might be the most valuable skill a software engineer can have.
So we've established that AI isn't about to replace software engineers, which few, but it's changing the game for sure. Knowing all of this, what does that actually mean for the day-to-day of someone entering the field now? So how does someone starting out in software engineering actually prepare for a future working alongside AI?
Well, that's where this article gets really practical, actually. It really seems to think that software development is going to be more about collaboration with AI.
Okay.
Not just like, holing up in your basement coding by yourself. Imagine having an AI tool that helps write code faster, debug more efficiently, even like predicts potential issues before they become a massive problem.
Okay, so that sounds less like a job apocalypse and more like getting a superpower.
Exactly. It frees you up to focus on the really interesting high-level stuff that requires, the human touch. But, and this is interesting, the role of a software engineer, it's evolving. I mean, someone has to build, train, and manage these AI systems, right?
Wait, so it's not like these tools just appear fully formed.
Yeah.
Someone has to be behind the curtain making sure they work.
Yeah. Of course. And as AI becomes even more integrated into the development process, we're going to need more and more people who can, design these algorithms, feed them the right data, and make sure everything's running smoothly.
So it's less about being replaced and more about like leveling up.
Yeah.
So instead of knowing how to code, you need to understand the why behind it all in order to guide the AI.
Exactly. And the article really emphasizes this. It all starts with a really strong foundation in computer science fundamentals. Even with AI assistance, you can't get away from algorithms, data structures, all those core principles.
So no skipping those one-on-one classes.
Yeah.
Even if it seems like AI will be doing all the heavy lifting later on.
Nope. And on top of that, a thirst for knowledge, for continuous learning. Like that is non-negotiable.
Makes sense.
This industry changes so fast. AI just throws like rocket fuel on that fire,
Yeah.
You have to be curious. You have to be picking up new languages, experimenting with new tools. That's how you thrive in this kind of environment.
You're not building a career. You're building a skill set. Constantly adding new tools to your toolkit.
And you know what else? Don't forget the human element. Collaboration, communication, being able to explain these complex concepts to, people who don't eat, sleep, and breathe code. Those skills. More valuable than ever.
It's almost ironic. Like, we're getting more and more high-tech, but it's those uniquely human skills that really make us stand out.
Absolutely. And the article really drives that point home.
So for our listeners out there, thinking about taking the leap into software engineering, don't be scared of AI. Embrace it. But never forget that at the heart of it all is human ingenuity.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that, my friend, is why we love a good deep dive. It's not just about understanding the technology, but also understanding ourselves and our place in this, frankly, crazy world. If you want to check out some of these AI coding tools yourself, by the way, I highly recommend GitHub Copilot or OpenAI Codex. And be sure to keep an eye out for future deep dives where we'll be exploring even more fascinating corners of the AI world. Until then, happy coding.